Double steering describes the process of pressing two steering inputs at the same time. You might ask yourself, why should I do this? What is the benefit? We will try to clarify this in this video. If you check the controller options in Need for Speed Underground, you can see that you can map two inputs for the same function. I'm not sure what the developer's idea behind it was, but this gives us the possibility to map two steering inputs at the same time. As you can see, I have mapped my steering wheel as the primary input and one button on my wheel as the secondary input. When we are back on the track, this means that I can steer the car with my wheel or keep my wheel straight and press buttons to steer the car left or right. But what happens if I use both inputs at the same time? As you can see, the amount of rotation on my wheel is ignored as soon as I press the button. The digital input overrides the input which is sent from my wheel, and now turns in the car to the maximum. After the game was released in 2003, players in the competitive scene found out that this function can actually be used as an advantage in online matches. If you steer the car with the wheel at a certain angle and tap the secondary steering input, the car would sometimes start to drift. This could be used to pass sharp corners at a better angle, without the need of lifting the gas pedal. Since two inputs are used for the steering, this technique became known as double steering, or short DS. Here you can see an example of clearing the last corner of the track terminal without double steering. And you can see I need to lift the gas pedal a little bit, otherwise I would hit the wall on the left. I come out with 260 km per hour. With double steering though, I don't need to lift the gas pedal and come out with 270 km per hour. Since the technique requires you to steer the wheel at a certain angle, a steering wheel is required. In the settings of my wheel, I have set a maximum rotation of 180 degrees. Big rotations do not work well with Need for Speed Underground, so I would recommend you to do the same. But feel free to experiment with your own settings. In the game options, make sure to have manual transmission activated and stability control on. Also, I would recommend to use the Mazda RX-7 for the beginning, because from my experience, this is the easiest car to achieve double steering with. Now, on the track, drive into the corner with the wheel turned in at around 50 degrees, and then tap the secondary steering input. If it worked, your car will start to drift. To get out of the drift, reduce the steering angle of your wheel. You will notice if your wheel angle is too low, the car will not drift and just go straight into the barrier. But if you steer in too much, the actual drift becomes too big and you will lose control and speed. Keep in mind that depending on the track and the corner, the car will behave differently. So every corner needs a different angle and input to make it work. Another tip is to prevent curbs and jumps, otherwise the car will spin out or will be hard to control. Overall, don't give up after a few tries. This technique needs some practice to get used to and to make it work consistently. Double steering is mostly used for the Mazda RX-7, but also works for other cars. In my test runs, I found out that the Miata works pretty well with double steering as well. For other cars, like the Integra, not so much though. Also, if you want to get the most out of the tracks, try to experience with stability control. Stability control on will definitely allow you to control the drift better and longer. With stability control off, the car will behave more snap loose and will be harder to control, but might be faster depending on the track and the situation. So just test it out. I hope this was a good introduction into double steering, and I'm curious about your thoughts and opinions in the comments below. Thanks.